Hey guys, Oddball back. Alright, so I decided I was going to do a video tonight. I wasn't thinking of doing one, but sat down, I was like, you know what? Why not? So I'm going to do a 16th ounce jig head. This is number 2 hook. Did it in gloss black. I'm going to be tying it off with red this time. Usually when I do a black head, I try to keep with the black thread, but with the colors I'm doing with this, the red worked just fine. I'm going with making a hair jig this time. I've got some of this pretty. On camera it looks a little bit lighter, but in person this is more of like kind of a burgundy maroonish color. And then I've got some of this red, and I think these would look really good together. I'm going to add some of this red and black striped flashing in. I think that'll look real good. So we're going to start off, we're going to tie in, start wrapping at the head, and work our way back. I'm not going to go as far back as I normally do. I'm only going to go about halfway because with this being a hair jig, I want to try to get this tied closer to the head, because I know the last couple times I've done a hair jig, I had a gap and just it didn't look good in my opinion. Like it worked, and I almost put my cut off in my drink. Yeah, we drink out of mason jars at my house. Oh, but also I use a mason jar as my dunk cup, so good stuff. Anyway, so I'm going to try to keep these together. I'm going to keep the darker color on top. And when I say on top, I mean talking about towards the hook. And more or less, I'm wanting to gauge how far out I want this to come. I'm saying right about there. I can shift it however I want to at this point. That's acting a little goofy, so we might just roll that back and we'll tie that in separate. See, this is why I do this. Pull that red away from that. I do like to keep goof ups in with my videos because y'all can see and learn from my mistakes, because I was trying to tie in something before I should have. Alright. I should have rolled my line back a little bit, but that'd be okay. And the great thing about this bucktail is I can trim on it and it'll be fine. But got that material pulled back to lock this in. Throw that scrap away. We'll bury that. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off about ½ an inch worth of material, which I'm going to kind of cut it at an angle. Yeah, I think that looks good. Alright. Let's get some of that red. Lay that on top. Let's get that tied in. Oh yeah, it looks good. Lock it in. Tie that off. Cut that off. And bury that. Oh yeah, this one's looking a lot better than that last one I did. That was a hair jig. At this point, I got my little scragglers I can pull out. But now I want to take a couple pieces of this flashing, lay it on my line like I do with anything else. I'm going to try to get those ends about as even as we can. Which I want to tie this closer to the back of the threads. That way it'll line up with about the end of everything. Just make sure I got them all grouped together. Because I got them trying to separate and I got hairs trying to pull out. No! Oh well, it'll be fine. Just make sure I get a good wrap on all this. Alright. Get my other two pieces. Alright, come on, just cooperate. Yeah, one of my buddies from work, he requested, or he actually put in an order for this kind of pattern. And I'm going to test this to see if this is what he wants. Because what he requested was kind of a crawfish pattern. And I was sitting there thinking, well, what colors are a crawfish? And I've seen them be all kinds of colors. I've seen them be bright red. I've seen them be dark red. I've seen them be brown. I remember as a kid, me and one of my friends went and rode around on his four-wheeler, and we were sitting there looking at every mud hole we could for seemed like we sat and looked at every mud hole within a mud hole and creek within a half-mile radius looking for crawdads, which around that's what we called them when I was growing up, but come to find out, the same thing as the darn crawfish. And I mean, we had some that were monsters. Big, mean, ugly suckers. But we had fun finding them. Alright. Now, we've got a lot of thread to cover, but we'll do this. But no, that was one of the things I always liked about living outside of town. As long as I had kids around me, I'd go outside. I'd go play. But I didn't like it when I got older, or when I was an older kid, or being a teenager, because I was running and gunning, and I didn't like the fact that I lived so far from town that it took a few minutes to get into town and all that, and you had a plan when you went. Well, cut freaking, I'm having to think, how old am I now? About to be 33, and I'm just like, I'm ready to move back to the country. I'm getting tired of this crap. I'm tired of living in town. But actually, I hit that with a light a little bit longer. But as I've learned, the older you get, you make do with what you got or what you can afford. One of these days, I will be back out in the country. will be on my own land. But as for now, I make do with what I can afford. Alright. I think that's a pretty good looking little bug. It could be a larva crawdad. If I could figure out how to do these, just do it like that. But I think it turned out pretty good. Alright guys, that's all for this video. I'm trying to think, I don't know, if anybody ever comes up with any color combinations, just leave a comment, something you haven't seen me tie yet, and I'll see if I've got the materials to do it. I'm kind of limited on what I have, but I'm trying to get more. So, like I said, you work with what you got. Alright guys, y'all keep fishing, take it easy.